We've got some exciting news for all you Marvel maniacs out there.
That's right. We're inviting you to join our exclusive Marvel Movie Minute membership program.
For just $5 a month or $55 a year, you'll gain access to a world of marvelous perks that will make you feel like you've been hit with a dose of super soldier serum.
As a member, not only will you get bad puns like that, you'll also get your own private podcast feed delivering early, ad-free episodes straight to your ears faster than Thor's hammer flying back to his hand.
And members also get access to periodic bonus episodes exclusively for our most dedicated fans. Consider it your own personal Jarvis for Marvel movie content.
Plus, you'll gain entry to our exclusive Discord community, where you can chat with other Marvel fanatics just like you. It's like you're assembling your very own team of Avengers.
Most importantly, by becoming a member, you'll be directly contributing to the show you love and helping us keep Marvel Movie Minute running strong. We value your support more than all the vibranium in Wakanda.
We can't thank you enough for being part of our journey through the MCU. You're the Pepper Potts to our Tony Stark, always there by our side.
You're the arc reactor to our Iron Man suit, the Heimdall to our Thor, the horny jokes to our Deadpool.
The gamma radiation to our Bruce Banner.
Well, maybe not that one.
I'm sorry.
So what are you waiting for? Don't be like Hawkeye, always getting left out of the action.
Head over to truestory.fm/join and become a member today.
Join us, and together we'll explore the Marvel Cinematic Universe like never before.
Step up to the streets and become the hero of your own story.
Excelsior, true believers. With your support, we'll make this membership program a smash hit. Before we dive in, here's another show you can enjoy in the True Story FM family of entertainment podcasts.
Ever wondered what happens when a Zoomer who grew up on the Clone Wars,
A millennial Anakin defender,
And a grumpy old Gen Xer walk into a cantina to talk Star Wars?
then we've got the podcast for you.
Star Wars Generations is a place for fans of all backgrounds to come together, talk about why we love the franchise, and what we can learn from each other.
With so much new Star Wars content coming out, we take a deep dive into all of it. We talk stories and characters, what we learn about the Force and the Empire, Republics old and new, and how each story adds to the larger picture.
Besides episode-by-episode coverage of the new shows, we've been going back to watch the movies in release order. We talk about Star Wars novels and video games, along with fan content and cosplay.
And with each episode, we're just starting the conversation, and we hope you jump in. We'll read your feedback, answer your questions. We've even had full episodes dedicated to questions raised by listeners like you.
You can find us under Star Wars Generations on your favorite podcast app or by going to theethicalpanda.com. May the Force be with you.
Now this is podcasting.
Meet Zinnia.
You are being very polite to someone who is attempting to kill us.
Her wife Saffron.
You know I'm wildly, madly in love with you.
And their best friend Goldie.
Glad we didn't miss all the fun.
Swords in hand, they defend their city from the worst of humanity.
I am Lord Buxton Blue.
Equity Electric.
Herr Haig. Virgil Walcott. Vicious Swab.
Follow their adventures on the Swashbuckling Ladies Debate Society audio drama podcast. Available now at truestory.fm/swashbuckling.
Welcome back to the Marvel Movie Minute, a weekly podcast in which we disassemble a film from the Marvel Cinematic Universe into 5-minute segments and then examine them in obsessive and occasionally hilarious detail. I'm Kyle Olson from the Storywell podcast.
Hey, and I'm Rob Cabasco. And Kyle.
Yes, Rob.
You know, I think we all know smelly bathrooms can be a cause for concern. It could indicate a lot of things. We live in homes. We know this. It could be a clogged drain, poor ventilation, sewer gas leak. By the way, sewer gas leak, really serious. Don't mess around with that. However, the most common reason is because your poop stinks. And if it does stink, it's sad. It's sad. But here's the thing. If it does, I've got 9 reasons why it may stink.
Whoa, 9 reasons.
Now, before we
are you doing this David Letterman style, like 9 to 1?
No, I'm just gonna. I'm just gonna give you the 9.
Okay. You don't need a drum roll or anything?
No, there's no drum roll at all. Actually, no. You know what? I'm doing it on the cuff. I am. I'm gonna reverse it. I just want to say though, our lawyers just gave me a memo. Okay. You can't use any information we give you to make decisions on your health.
You're saying we're not medical professionals?
We're not medical professionals.
Our advice should not be taken that way?
Do not use anything we say to counsel decisions on your health, or basically anything else in that matter for your life. I think we'd all agree with that, right?
That's true. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. When it comes to advice about poop, we stink.
Okay, here it is. And here we go. Number 9. Well, your gut health may suck, which drink some Yakult or something, go to Sprouts or whatever your Whole Foods, purveyor is of that kind of stuff. Number 8, infections. That has an effect. Number 7, you may have recently switched your diet. Maybe you moved to something a little different. I don't know what that exactly means, but whatever. Number 6, constipation. I think we all know that constipation, when things get backed up, a lot of bad stuff happens.
Hey, Rob, did you hear the story about the constipated mathematician?
No.
He worked it out with a pencil.
Oh, no.
That was literally a dad joke. That was a joke my dad told me.
Number 5, it's a side effect of your medication or supplements. Understand that, right? People taking a lot of different things.
Sure.
Number 4, you've been eating processed or sugary food. Number 3, you've been drinking too much alcohol. Number 2, you must have some sort of food intolerance. And number 1,
the number one answer.
You've been eating sulfur-rich foods like meat, like cheese, like cruciferous veggies.
Cruciferous.
The Brussels sprouts, the broccoli, the cauliflower, I think everybody knows. Let's just say, okay, I bring this all up because let's say a character in a movie you're watching has this issue. It's good to know that it's not just a meaningless gag, but crucial to the plot and character of the movie you're watching.
Because we know that everybody poops, and that includes the characters of Iron Man 3 from 2013, directed by Shane Black, written by Shane Black and Drew Pearce.
Oh, boy.
So we rejoin our hero, Tony Stark, as he is infiltrating the mansion owned by the Mandarin. He has worked his way through the guards, taking out several of them, some with shots to the groin, some with shots to the dome. But
fountains were involved. Fountains were damaged.
Right. Christmas ornaments used in a way that no Christmas ornament should be.
Good God.
And now we've come to it. Finally, Iron Man is going to face off against the Mandarin. But first, he has to find out who's in the bed. So he walks up to the giant bed with the maroon comforter, duvet, call it what you will. He pulls it down to reveal 2 women in skimpy garments. So on the left, that's Carrie Musa. She has 13 credits on IMDb. She's in Rock of Ages. And on the right is Luciana Faulhaber. She has 55 acting credits on IMDb, including appearances on CSI, Blue Bloods, Grey's Anatomy, and Gotham. So there's the nerd cred.
Nice.
She also is a fellow podcaster. So after you're done listening to all the wonderful podcasts we have here on TrueStory.fm, look up Incessantly Seeking. It's a personal development podcast for those of us who are always looking to learn and grow. It is a weekly conversation with experts in a variety of topics such as finances, health, career, love, and relationships.
Wait a minute. Can you say her name again?
Luciana Faulhaber.
Wow.
Yeah.
You can't forget that name. Well, you can, but you just know that that's a name.
She is also known as Vanessa, as we're about to learn. So as Tony is then surprised by these women in the bed, then we hear a voice coming from the side and a toilet flush, and enter the Mandarin, except he's not quite what we expected him to be. He comes out in a black t-shirt and a robe with his hair all up the thing and says, well, I wouldn't go in there for 20 minutes, which is a very Ace Ventura joke. Do not go in there. And he says, and not noticing that Tony's there, Tony sort of slips around behind the back of the headboard. And so he walks around and he says, now, which of you is Vanessa? I love the way he says that. And Vanessa says, that's Luciana there says, that's me. He says, Nessie. So immediately, her name is Vanessa, immediately calls her Nessie. Says, did you know that fortune cookies aren't even Chinese? So he's like, starts to go into his spiel about it's like, I love the fact that it's like he learned something from a scene.
And now it's a after pickup line.
Yeah,
it's great.
Right. It's like a little. Yeah, it's like, hey, here's some interesting trivia for you. Let's make some small talk.
Oh boy.
He said, the fortune cookies aren't even Chinese, and so the other one, party girl number 2, says, "There's some guy over here," pointing directly to Tony, who's standing there with a gun, like a regular, not even the nail gun, a real gun. But Trevor is not paying any attention. And he says, they're made by Americans based on a Japanese recipe. Okay, so from here on, we have our confrontation between Tony meeting who he thought was the Mandarin, but things are not quite adding up. And this reminded me of an episode of The Incredible Hulk that we did, if you remember way back, because this is just a straight up conversation. This reminded me of the hallway scene from Incredible Hulk. Do you remember this?
Yes, I do remember that. I remember the hallway conversation. Are you telling me that we're about to have a king size bed conversation?
I think we are, because this seems like this calls for a dramatic Marvel Movie Minute reenactment of the next 3 minutes.
How's your accent? You're
terrible.
Oh, great. Now wait, right now,
South London at all.
If you're listening to this and going, what is happening here? God, let me tell you something. It's slim pickings in this episode of the Marvel Movie Minute, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
But for now, should we begin?
I think we should begin. So you will be playing the role of Tony Stark. I'll be playing the role of the Mandarin, who we're about to reveal is not quite the same. So whenever you're ready, you can begin with your first line, which is, hey.
Here we go. Hey.
Bloody hell, bloody hell.
Don't move.
I'm not moving. You want something? Take it. Although the guns are all fake because those wankers wouldn't trust me with the real ones.
What?
Hey, you fancy either of the birds?
I heard enough. You're not him, the Mandarin, the real guy. Where's the Mandarin? Where is he?
Whoa. He's here. He's here, but he's not here. He's here, but he's not here.
What do you mean?
It's complicated. Hey, it's complicated.
It is?
It's complicated.
Yeah, well, uncomplicate it. Ladies out. Get out of the bed. Get into the bathroom. Sit.
And the women run off and exit as he fires the gun. My name is Trevor Slattery.
What are you? What are you? A decoy? You're a double, right?
What do you mean, like an understudy? No, absolutely not. Don't hurt the face. I'm an actor.
You got a minute to live. Fill it with words.
It's just a role. The Mandarin. See, it's not real.
Then how did you get here, Trevor?
Well, I had a little problem with substances, and I ended up doing things, no two ways about it, in the street that a man shouldn't do.
Next.
Then they approached me about the role. They knew about the drugs.
What did they say? They'd get you off them?
They said they'd give me more. They gave me things. They gave me this palace. They gave me plastic surgery. They gave me things.
Did you just not off? Hey.
Oh, no, and a lovely speedboat. And the thing was, he needed someone to take credit for some accidental explosions.
He? Killian? He created you?
He created me.
Custom-made Taylor threat.
Yes. His think tank thinked it up. The pathology of a serial killer, the manipulation of Western iconography. Ready for another lesson? Blah, blah, blah. No, of course, it was my performance that brought the Mandarin to life.
Your performance? Where people died?
No, they didn't. Look around you. The costumes, green screen. Honestly, I was on location for half this stuff. And when I was, it was movie magic, love.
I'm sorry, but I got a best friend who's in a coma and he might not wake up. So you're going to have to answer for that. You're still going down, pal.
And that's when Tony's hit over the head by 7. And scene.
Okay, that was pretty good.
This is why they paid the big bucks, because I am now Ben Kingsley.
I just want to say this. Well done, sir. I do feel bad that
I was Australian for about the first half. And then I finally started. I'm like started to get London thing. And then by the time we were done, then I was out.
Did you like my mess up of, instead of saying custom made terror threat, I said Taylor threat?
I know. We'll get it on the second take. It'll be fine.
Custom made, because in my head, as we're just doing this in no practice, this was one take.
Yeah.
As my mind was reading, my mind thought custom made by a tailor.
Right.
I was like, what is happening?
Okay. So before we sort of get into break down the stuff, now you've had some big feelings about Trevor coming up. So
yes,
now the truth has been revealed. So I know some stuff about sort of how this came to be and stuff too. But tell me, like, your initial feelings about Trevor and how you feel about this.
So very similar. Well, so obviously, and I will tell you this here. Everyone knows I've not been happy about this movie. Mm-hmm. You know, it's shocking. I might be turning.
Oh,
because one of the things that I enjoyed about this second viewing was that, wow, as discombobulating as this is for the viewer and clearly for Tony, right? Because this is so out of nowhere from what you've seen in the tone of the movie. You immediately start to think, okay, so then the guy didn't die. He didn't kill the guy on the floor, which clearly now, right? Mm-hmm. Wow, this is such a curveball. Wow, what a bastard Killian is. Mm-hmm. Because now you've got that. Now you wonder about everything. And in terms of Tony, well, this is kind of wild. Like, this is like the third time now his world has been shattered to its core in this movie.
Yes.
And it's not the last time.
No.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, exactly.
So, next episode. No, I mean, like, wow, it's shattering on this. And okay, and also I have to ask, what did he do in the street? What happened?
Things a man shouldn't do is what he said.
What does that mean? Like, no, like, for real. Like, I was like,
I assumed that he was he did some escorting of people.
Oh, things that normally would happen in an alley, and instead these were in the street.
You know, short times. You know, like just to spend a few quality minutes. You know, sort of the end of Boogie Nights kind of times.
Oh my God, too far, my friend, too far.
If it's good enough for PTA, it's good enough for SP.
Oh no. I mean, it's shocking. Mm-hmm. It's shocking because your brain is immediately thinking, man, everyone's in on it. Like, the thing that I immediately go back to is the scene where they roll up in the car. Everyone's in on the joke?
No, I don't think so. So I think that like a lot of what we have seen, like, was, like we talked about before, compartmentalization. Like, I think that essentially what Killian, of course, knew, Savin knows. But and obviously the women they bring in to spend quality time, like, they're doing things in the street as well. Like, they're here to spend quality time.
All unfortunate. We're taking advantage of people here.
Well, I mean, you know, it doesn't seem like they're captives. So
no,
you know, Trevor was doing what he had to do to survive.
Right.
So we'll say they're not either. I think that, like, they're in on it. Obviously, they know this is the thing, and probably everybody, like, in essentially this house, like, all those guards know, because Trevor, I'm sure, is not, like, in the full thing. But when they're performing, I think that is the case. Like, I don't think the production team knows. So I think there is a very small circle that knows about Trevor.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And you know, I mean, we can, because it doesn't seem like even Maya really knows. There's really nothing that indicates that she knows that it's completely fabric. I mean, she knows that they're covering up the thing, but I don't know that she.
Well, that may change. That may change shortly, but yes, you're probably right.
I know it's that's a good. We'll talk about, you know, Maya as we're in the next 5 minutes. She has a lot more stuff.
I will tell you this though, it's rare, and I tried to think of a movie where it was similar to this. It is rare. And here, let's put that out. This would be a great discussion topic. I would love to know if people have ideas on this, because I couldn't really think of one. It's rare to have a main character in a film you are watching have the same reveal to them as to the audience.
True.
Where you both go, what the hell's happening here?
The first one that comes to mind is Fight Club, and I think I said because I just recently watched it. And also,
that's a great point.
There's Edward Norton as well. It's like I just watched it. You know, I showed it to my teenage daughter, and we had a conversation beforehand and afterwards and stuff too, because I wanted it was that movie is oddly coming back around. In her school paper, 2 different people wrote, like, reviews of Fight Club. I was like, what is it about Fight Club that's appealing to Gen Z?
I can think of a few things.
I know that's a different conversation. That's
none of them are good.
But that was the one that came to mind for me, of, like, surprise, what you've been watching has all been true, but not the way that you've.
That's a great example.
I mean, we could go back to the whole history of twists of, like, Usual Suspects and that kind of thing. But yeah, for this high profile of a movie, a summer movie. Yeah. I mean, what, Sixth Sense? Like, I mean, what, I mean, this is a big time summer blockbuster, action figures on the shelves, lunchboxes, t-shirts, underoos. Like, this is that kind of level. To have this kind of surprise in here. Yeah, it's pretty unprecedented. I can't really think of anything else that's.
Oh, no. And actually, Sixth Sense is a great one, too. Oh, wow. Well, then maybe I mean, it's
no, I don't think so. No, I think you made a good point. Both. It's weird that Sixth Sense and Fight Club were both, from this movie, were like 13 years earlier, 14 years earlier. And then between then and there, I can't think of anything, especially not, like I said, not at this scale.
Interesting.
This is one of the first sort of big secrets that Marvel was able to keep.
Oh, yeah, because this was not known. No, everyone thought Ben Kingsley was the Mandarin.
Yes. Yeah. This was a huge, this was a bomb dropped on the fandom when it came out. And I would imagine probably like the Ain't It Cool news forums were probably on fire at this point because
yes.
Now, I know Shane Black talks about this as being like, he was, this is the first of, Shane Black was wounded where, Ryan Johnson was assassinated.
Well,
I'm saying, like, it's but the, like, the fandom backlash
now
was at that point was serious, but not crippling as it has turned into now.
Now, the thing about this is you have two. Well, and then they sort of rectify this many moons from now.
Yes,
but.
Which one of the things also made Shane Black very upset. Sad. Not like
interesting.
Sad, but like oh.
Well, but I mean, here's the deal though. Like, so what this makes you think is that one, the Mandarin doesn't exist. But and again, now in a movie where nothing is real, you don't know that. But the one thing that if anybody was upset, and we've talked about the cultural appropriation stuff of this, right? Like, if someone's upset that, Ben Kingsley, how can Ben Kingsley be the Mandarin? Well, guess what? Shock, he's not. So that door is still open somewhere, possibly, maybe, someday.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So then a lot of things we were talking about all of this pulling from real world events and actual taking credit for all of these attacks and things too. None of that was real. Like, as far as, like, from my understanding of this revelation is that none of the things that the Mandarin has taken credit for in the movie, he actually did.
Right. Oh, right.
We know that the extremist soldiers are exploding, but everything else, he's just there taking credit for it. And there's no one to say, oh, actually, that was us. There isn't Ultimatum, which is another Marvel group or whatever, saying like, no, that was us. Like, there's no one else. So no one's going to be like, no, actually, we're the ones who blew up that military base.
Well, and
so
I think
take credit for it.
And it's got to blow Tony away because, like, imagine, and again, this is why I will say I was a little bit more this scene, this moment, and probably our next episode. Yeah. We will talk about moments that are far deeper for Tony and for the audience than I remember originally.
Yeah.
And I think probably it's because this time, okay, I knew the joke, right? Yeah. But because I think the first time you saw this, you were just like, what is going on?
Yeah.
But then to think, everything that Tony's been through in the last 36 hours, let's say, wow, none of it is what he thought.
Yeah.
None of it.
Yeah. He has been played left, right, and center.
And that's kind of amazing. And I wonder if it will change my thinking of the movie as we go on.
Yeah. I would say we're going to talk more about Trevor because this isn't it for him. He's going to come back and we're going to talk more.
You do have two very interesting things though in this scene.
Mm-hmm.
As we just went over about almost 3 minutes of the movie.
Right.
Kyle, you have two opportunities to pick up some of the props and accessories you see in this scene.
Ooh, is a hookah?
Maybe
there's a hookah next.
There is. The two things that I found most interesting in this is, and they're both still available. One is a Decisions T-shirt
with multiple calibers of bullets on it.
Multiple calibers of bullets. It was designed by a company called 7.62 Design. It is still available. You can find it online. If you're wondering what 7.62 is, 7.62 is the millimeter dimensions of a round for an AK-47.
Okay.
So any of you who are shooting enthusiasts,
I mean, it has been used in this movie. Like
right. So, but very interesting. And yes, it's got what you're kind of seeing is the decisions in the middle of the shirt. You have all these different calibers. Then on the bottom, it says it has like a sort of Pulp Fiction looking soldier. And it says, one thing certain, make them count. That's on the shirt. The second thing I thought was interesting is there is a very unique telephone next to the Mandarin sitting in his seat, or Trevor. If you search for this phone, this exact phone at the time we're recording is available on Etsy. It is a Sultan's phone, table, marble, and brass mid-century reproduction.
It's built into the table?
Yes. The phone is actually, it is all one piece. The exact same piece right now is available on Etsy for a cool $524 US.
Oh.
You too could be like a would-be Mandarin.
You get some graffiti artists to put up some American Eagles.
That's kind of, I have to tell you though, when you see it, it's kind of cool. It is. It's all one piece. It's literally a phone built into a side table. It's kind of cool.
I'd say it's. I was looking at Trevor. Also, we didn't do Trevor offers Tony a beer, which of course Tony is sober, so Tony says, he waves it off, and then Mandarin just takes both of them. So I tried to figure out what he had, and it had to be that they did not have a beer sponsor.
Yeah, that's correct.
They are every single angle. His hands are covering the entire can. The only thing you ever see are the side ingredients and barcode. Yeah. There is no. A couple of things I thought it might be, but it's very specifically like we're not going to specifically say that this is beer because it's it's a Marvel PG-13 movie. It's. But yeah, it was. You can tell that they, as opposed to the Grepsy or all the stuff on Friends, you can see all the fake different logos. They didn't even take the time to make their own Red Apple cigarettes. They didn't even take the time to make. What's our
Incredible Hulk? What's our Incredible Hulk soda?
Pingu. Yeah.
Yes. Pingo Noche? Is that what it is?
Pingo Noche, yeah.
Dose, yeah.
Pingo Dose, yeah. Pingo Dose, that's what it is.
There we go. That's going to make a comeback. Well, also, by the way, here he is drinking lots of alcohol, probably eating a lot of snack foods.
Yeah.
It all ties together. That bathroom's not smelly for no reason. I just want you all to know it all makes sense.
I say, on your list of 9, there's probably at least 3 that Trevor has hit.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
Maybe more.
But yeah, so I love this. Like this was something that they talk about in the commentary, and they talked about in multiple interviews that their thought is that everyone hates it, and so much so that Marvel went back and retconned it and did the Along with the King short, which I'm sure will be talked about here in Marvel in a couple of years,
right?
Just because of how time works. But I think it's fantastic. I think it's great. Like I thought this was because the Mandarin as a character is based on some really dodgy source material. It is based on the Fu Manchu character, which is a very racist,
right?
Even at the time, it was pretty rough, and it has not aged. And so the Mandarin was based on that. There's, it's like when they announced the Mandarin was going to be the villain in the very first Iron Man movie, and then of course things changed, and they decided to expand his origin a little bit more, and we got to this point. And then the whole time they've been trying to figure it out, and apparently this even was a revelation when the two of them were, because they were told it has to be the Mandarin, and they were writing this movie together. And the story goes, they were having a hard time figuring out how is he going to be and what is it going to do. They had broken a lot of the story, but then this was the confrontation. And then Drew Pearce went to the bathroom, and while he was going to the bathroom, so bathrooms are a theme of this thing, he had this thought of what if he's fake? And he came back to had washed his hands, I'm sure, and then came running back into the room with Shane Black, and he's like, what if it's fake? What if the Mandarin's fake? And Shane was like, yes. And they just immediately came up with Trevor. And so what Drew Pearce talked about, he calls Trevor a lovey. So and even Shane Black didn't know what that was. And so he said, there's a certain type of English actor that will, the kind of person that you would hear say, oh, could you get me a cup of tea, love? and they call them lovies. So it's that sort of like the sort of the Derek Jacobi's of the British thing, like the very sort of just very English, just nice, proper gentleman, just kind, and that so to have him be that as opposed to like like an American method, like a Tropic Thunder sort of like method. Like, no, to have it just be like, no, it's just a role. I'm just here to do the fun. They tell me what to say. I point the thing. They give me the drugs. It's great.
Okay. I hope I don't know.
Where was that accent earlier on?
Well, yeah, that was really good, by the way. Well done. Too late, but that's fine.
Yeah.
I was about to say this may be bad. I don't want to offend anybody, but I thought all British actors were like that. No?
Don't let Jason say them here.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Totally sorry. They're not. Okay, I'll tell you, though. There's a couple. Tony's got one of the other big themes of this movie. I forgot. Man, his lines are punchy.
Yes. This whole scene, you could tell they just absolutely just got every single tooth into this scene. Like,
but I mean, like, even so just good. But great Tony stuff where you're like, where Tony has this, and he does this all throughout the portrayal of the character, where he'll say something and then come in at the end with a little additional thing. The example I would give here is, you got a minute to live, fill it with words.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Just it's a Tonyism. Like it's a total Tony way of talking. Like, when we say always like Yoda talks in reverse, Tony has this way of like putting something out there and then like a little addition to it that he just comes in quick at the end that you just go, oh crap, I gotta do what this guy says. It's great.
In the first thing, as Tony says, hey, and pulls the gun. Trevor says, bloody hell. Apparently that was two different takes. He just gave them two different ones and they liked them so much they used both of them. So it was funny. It was not written as bloody hell, but he just did it. And they're just like, oh, that's really good. And they just kept it together. I do like the fact that Trevor is scared, but also kind of not. Like he's still on a little bit of stuff too, but he's willing to do whatever, but he's also not trying to be like cowering in the corner and stuff. Like it's complicated. Like you need to understand, like, hey, like it's complicated.
I think he's used to talking his way out of situations.
Yes. I think this is probably not the first person who's pulled a gun on him.
No, that's for sure.
And I love the fact that he gets offended when he's being called an understudy. Oh, that's like an understudy.
Oh, even dozing off in the middle of putting out the list of things. The plastic surgery, though, I would assume was that the beard? What is he alluding to?
I think that he was, probably just a regular. Maybe I don't know. I mean, like to make it so that no one who had ever seen him perform would ever recognize him. I'm sure it was like a whole facial reconstruction, because we know the beard is fake.
Right. Right. Oh, yeah. We've seen them. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, exactly. And even when we're this close, you can kind of go, oh, yeah, that isn't not a real beard. And we saw the different ones that were on there. Because I think that probably for also the passage of time, too, because he talks about the traveling and stuff, too, that he was never allowed a real gun because they didn't trust him. He said everything was, some location stuff was all green screen. So it looks like even all the stuff we saw before of him walking through the terrorist camp, one of the early, that was all probably shot in Simi Valley, right, where they shot Planet of the Apes and a bunch of the Star Trek episodes. They just set up targets and, shot it and then, cut it together in a really dramatic fashion. They said that the original concepts of those videos apparently were going to be much more dramatic in terms of like CG. Like there was going to be like a dragon, and then the dragon would transform into the Mandarin stuff too. And then they finally got to like, you know what, maybe we should just like keep it more, snappy editing.
Oh, that was a good decision.
Yeah. I also like him going, switching in and out of the Mandarin voice too.
Right.
Oh, I remember. That's what it is. When we get to the custom-made terror threat, Trevor says, "Yes, his think tank thinked it up." That's a Ben Kingsley line. He thought that was an improv that he thought of in there, and then he switches into the voice for the pathology of a serial killer, the manipulation of Western geography, and then back out of it. Blah blah blah. And even though he's a terrorist and one man, he's still really proud of the work. Like he's like, no, I did a really good job.
I gotta tell you, I forgot I wanted to bring this up. So you really have to listen to the scene where Tony tells the girls to get into the bathroom.
Yeah.
If you listen to the scene with headphones on, you clearly hear both the girls go, "Oh, what is that?"
Just like
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Yeah.
No, like you could absolutely hear them just be like, oh, which I'm glad that detail's in there. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So then when they get to the end, Tony is then, so I got best friend as a coma, you better make up. You're gonna have to answer for that. You're going down. And Trevor's standing there with his hands up, and he does a little thing where he sort of flicks his eyes to the left. And then Tony goes, and then stops, and then turns around. And of course, that's when Savin is there. And then Savin cold cocks him. Well, once again, in the last couple minutes, we've seen both of the heroes of this movie, Iron Patriot and now Tony Stark, taken out in one hit.
Yeah, it's not cool.
It's not cool.
It's not cool at all. Now, granted,
Tony's our mind is already reeling about Trevor, so I didn't think we need a big Savin fight scene. But to just like boom, and he's down.
Tony's been compromised.
Yes,
Rhodey's just a punk. I think we know that. I think that's been pretty clear.
Rhodey's just a punk?
Rhodey's just a punk. Come on, man. He's still all thinking he's cool, and he comes in. That's ridiculous. Don't get me started.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
So then when Savin is there and annoyed about this. Once again, Savin doesn't get a lot to do in this movie, but just the cool demeanor I really like. Just as he takes out Tony one hit and then goes, "Okay, Trevor, what'd you tell him?" I didn't tell him anything.
Wow.
No. And then this is my favorite. You should have pressed the panic button. Well, I panicked, but then I handled it.
Yeah, by telling him everything. By telling him all of it.
And then they made a point of this too. They thought it was really funny, the fact that he exits left and then the whole screen shifts. So he literally like exits stage left. So like he like steps off of screen.
Fantastic.
Dual transition. Yeah. So I see. They talk a lot about the online hate, and I'm sure it was there, but I really don't know anybody who was like, how dare they desecrate the sacred character of the Mandarin? Like, I still think it's. I have my own issues with the stuff that Marvel has changed. There's characters that I've gone on. I've been I've taken some shots at Hawkeye, and will again. But because I don't like the Marvel version of Hawkeye. I love the character Hawkeye. I don't like the Marvel version of Hawkeye. So I get it. Like I understand. I could do a whole rant about specific characters that I have. But I never really heard anybody from my sectors, my spheres, really mad about this because the Mandarin isn't Doctor Doom. He's not.
Right. Oh, right.
I mean, he's not at the same level as Red Skull and all of these other like classic iconic villains. Because like he was once again popular in the 60s, and like by the time I was reading Iron Man in like the late 80s into 90s, he wasn't even really around that much.
Right.
It's like it was that same thing of like even then they were starting to go, ooh, this he's a little dodgy, but start having this Asian warlord with like every ring has a different power and stuff too. It got really complicated. Every time they would try and bring it back, it would just get more and more strange.
I will just tell you that the Mandarin and how this was handled in this movie, which by the way, I do think it is creative, especially now dissecting it.
Yeah.
But the whole Mandarin concept is the least problematic part of this film.
Yeah, honestly,
that's the problem.
I think Trevor was a great choice for them to do. I think this was a nice twist, and we did not see this coming.
And by the way, and we haven't mentioned it quite yet. I think this is maybe the first time I'm going to bring this up. Trevor's character is completely redeemed in a future Marvel movie.
Yeah.
In a shocking way that I will still say blew my mind, and maybe outside of No Way Home, one of the best moments of Phase 4.
Wow. Okay.
There, I said it.
Okay. Nice. So then, so that was like 76, 77, 78. and 79.
And 79. We're almost here, kids.
So now we come to minute 80. So now we transition back to the lab. And I think my impression, this is the same building, right? Like that, the idea is that her lab.
This is that campus. Oh yeah.
So we cut to Maya's lab. And so we see Maya working on stuff. And you can't really see a lot of her screens. It looks like just like DNA strands that are going by as she's working. And we see Tony has been captured and tied up. So there is a metal bed frame standing there, and then Tony has been zip tied to the metal bed frame and in Maya's lab.
Ooh la la.
I say like even he makes the joke about like probably the first time. So Maya says, just like old times, huh? And Tony says, oh yeah, with zip ties, it's a ball. So this is that now Tony's finding out that Maya is like wrapped up thick in this. So she says, it wasn't my idea. And Tony says, okay, so you took Killian's card. Maya says, I took his money. So
she sucks. She straight up sucks.
You're very
yes.
about
the whole smirky look on her face as she's saying this. Whatever.
See, I'm still seeing her as as a tragic character because she's still has compromise. She knows how much she's compromised, but she's still very close.
Well, let me just. She's a seesaw. She's a seesaw.
Well, but also to reframe now. There have been no Mandarin attacks. Like we have to remember that. Like all the stuff they did, there have been none. There have been they have not used these guys to go out and blow stuff up, which is an actual element of one of the comic books. Like these are all accidents. These are all things. And they have all this as a smokescreen. So she is her biggest is being a bad scientist. She's just bad at what she's trying to do, and then going off all this stuff. But like there haven't been any terrorist attacks. There is no terrorism yet. There's about to be. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I mean it's coming.
Next episode, there's going to be some terrorism happening.
Yeah,
but so far there has not been. So she's. It's still in that thing of like it'll be worth it in the end. It'll be worth it. That's what's like she tells herself as she tries to go to sleep at night. So I took his money, and Tony says, "And here you are, 13 years later, in a dungeon." I says, "No." Tony says, "Yeah." She says, "No, you're in a dungeon. I'm free to go." And Tony says, "Yeah, like." But are you?
You think? You think so?
And Maya says, a lot has happened, Tony, but I'm close. Extremis is practically stabilized.
Oh, no.
Tony says, I'm telling you it isn't. I'm on the street. People are going bang. They're painting the walls. Maya, you're kidding yourself. Maya says, then help me fix it. And she pulls out his name tag from the Burn 1999 thing. It says, you know who I am. And on the back is the formula that he wrote when he first saw her work that night. And he says, did I do that? And Maya says, yes. And he says, I remember the night, but not the morning. Is this what you've been chasing around? Maya says, like almost tears in her eyes. You don't remember? Tony says, I can't help you. You used to have a moral psychology. You used to have ideals.
And that's the end of the minute.
That's the end of the minute. Yeah.
I want to say two things now, just so you know. Just everyone should be very happy. We almost began this episode with a deep dive on Steve Urkel. Did I do that? Like we almost did, but I was like, no, we got to talk about poop. No. So just know, could have totally been a totally different episode. Hey, so Maya seems like she's pretty messed up. Mm-hmm. And she's got a lot of issues. I hope no one's listening.
Yes. It'd be really bad if that's the case. Now, okay, so when Tony says this, do you think he really doesn't know?
No, this is typical him trying to, he always projects like he doesn't care when he completely cares and he completely knows about everything.
Okay, so this is the Tony defense mechanism of like.
Well, Tony defense mechanism filled with a conspicuous amount of flirting. Because even when strung up on a bed frame with zip ties, Stark's always moving. He's always making the move.
So we're going to have more to talk about Maya as we get into the next episode, because this episode
you can't miss. Can I tell you something right now? If you like Maya, or if you don't, or if you hate her, you can't miss the next episode.
That's right.
That's all I'm going to say.
We don't all get to choose how things end, but we do choose how this episode ends. And that's with a plea to go to truestory.fm/join and become a member of our merry little marching society. For just $5 a month or $55 a year, you can get early access to episodes of these with no ads. I know that all of our teams do a fantastic job on their ads, but at the same time, I understand that we get advertised to a lot. So, maybe to help offset that, do that, because bandwidth ain't free. So
hey, and just like Maya, we'll take your money.
That's right. It's like we're just like Maya. We're happy to take
God.
I don't like everyone to note it was Rob that said that.
I just said that.
So join us back here when we talk about minute 81 and on. We'll be here. Don't miss it. Enough said.
Bye.